BarbaraDragon080509. My question is addressed to Mr. Barber. Mr. Barber, the American...
Well, Mr. Dragon, you have to address it to me as the chair of the meeting, and then I can address it to Mr.
Fine.
Barber. Okay. Go ahead.
Mayor Gunther, the American Recovery and Investment Act of 2009, or the stimulus plan as it's known here and many other places. I have 3 questions about the stimulus money. 1, how much money has Brigantine received to date? How was this money spent or allocated to be spent? 2, how much additional money will be received? How will this additional money be spent? 3, how much additional money have we applied for, and how will this additional money be spent? I call your attention, Mr. Mayor, to the city of Hartsville, Alabama. They have a website, and I will quote from this website. It's called Stimulus Information Hub. This is part of our obligation to our taxpayer. Mayor Tommy Battle says in their website, it is the city's commitment to open and transparent government to have this information on the website. The taxpayers of Brigantine are entitled to know in detail the answers to the above questions. I will ask you, and you in turn can ask Mr. Barber.
Okay. I don't know Mayor Tommy.
Well, I know you don't, but I'm telling you what he said, and I will give you part of his website.
Thank you.
I don't expect you to know he lives in Alabama.
At this point...
The taxpayers of Brigantine, Mr. Barber.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes.
I was going to ask Mr. Barber to respond.
Well, I'll have more.
Well, why don't you do it in chunks so we can...
Fine.
Well, first of all, I don't know that answer here tonight. Second of all, if everyone was paying attention, as you know, several months ago, we hired Bruno Associates when this stimulus money came out. We hired a company to pursue all the funding we could possibly pursue. As of this date, I don't recall any funding that we received. We received our first notice of a turn down, well, 2. We missed 2 grants, but they're still working on it. And if Mrs. Dragon wants to come in and fill out an OPA request, we'll certainly have Bruno Associates supply her with all the grants that they applied for.
Well,
the reason I asked Mr. Barber to respond, and that was my recollection as well, is that we haven't received any at this point.
Well,
but let me finish.
We have numerous we
Right.
were turned down for 2 so far.
We've certainly applied. The other update that you've given recently is that apparently there are, I guess we are on a list of some sort in terms of priorities. And probably what you're seeing is, and I think there is some requirement once you receive the stimulus funds for the transparency piece that has been talked about. So if we receive the money, we will certainly have no problem posting it and making it public where that money is coming from.
Chris reminded me that we did receive notice that we were approved for 1 grant, but then they found out that they approved too much money, there wasn't enough money, and we're on the list. I think we're around 90 on the list now or something. Yeah.
okay. Well, then, when you do apply for the money, shouldn't the public know about it?
Well, I think we have made it public that we've talked about some of the grants that we've applied for right here.
Okay, can you put it on the website?
Well, I think the streetscaping grant was, how many times did we apply for that, Ed?
I think we're on
Our 5th round?
At least.
Well, then I don't understand how we can go ahead and spend stimulus money in anticipation of maybe we'll get it.
No, we didn't spend it. What we did was we had to do an authorization just in case we got it.
Well, no, excuse me. When several meetings ago, there was a question, and I did not put the question before council, of a Duran engineering bill, which seemed extremely higher than the previous ones. And I believe the answer was it's in preparation for the stimulus money that we're going to receive. I believe that's what Mr. Stinson said. Now, if we have no idea how much money we're going to receive and we have been turned down, how could we go ahead and spend that money?
Mayor, the item I believe Mrs. Dragon is just talking about, we made application, my office made application for New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust funding. That was one mechanism to have the stimulus, the American Reinvestment Recovery Act funds distributed through to municipalities. One of the criteria for that program was to have shovel-ready projects. So that meant that we had to do all our field work, all the engineering design work, the planning and design work up front. The city had to have that done in order to submit for those projects. We did that. The city has approved and authorized a bond ordinance as required by that program. We have been notified that we will receive funding for those projects that we've applied for. The question right now is how much will be a grant, how much will be no interest, and how much will be a quarter of whatever the current interest rate is. That's what we're waiting for. That's what Mr. Barber referred to when he said, I think we're on the list, we're 90th on that list. We will be funded. It's just whether we're funded at debt forgiveness or a reduced interest rate. And that was the bill that the Dorn Engineering bill was to have that. It had to be shovel ready. We had to do the design, we had to do the planning, I had to do the bid specifications, I had to put the entire project as though it was going out to bid, and then submit that to the state for their review.
You spoke about that last meeting.
That's correct.
Okay.
They have reviewed those projects, they found that they are in order and ready to go, and now we're just waiting for them to decide how it'll be funded.
Well, thank you very much. Now, but the money that is being paid to Dorian Engineering, will this be paid back by stimulus money, or is this money coming from the general fund or wherever?
Good.
That money was authorized as part of the bond.
Well, the
So
bond is paid by whom?
The water and sewer ratepayers.
And eventually paid by the taxpayers.
Right, but the question is, we're not sure if in fact we are funded, being 90th on the list, when that'll occur. But we're also not sure of the structure of how that's going to be done, whether it's going to be a loan, a low interest program, or a grant. So we don't know at this point.
What is the stimulus money? Is that, I thought that was money that was given. Is that stimulus money loan money? Is the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act loan money, or is this money that's given?
In the
Stimulate.
New Jersey Environmental Infrastructure Trust program, it is all of those. Some projects are funded as grants, some projects are funded with no interest, and some projects will be funded at low interest or next to zero interest. So that's what's being determined now.
Okay.
Are we eligible for the cash for clunkers as we replace our...
They ran out of that money.
If we're buying any new vehicles, that may...
So just like every grant,
I'm going back to my original question, that I think that the taxpayers of Brigantine deserve the right to know exactly how much we're spending and where the money's coming from. And I believe that this should be on the website, and it can be, with a little bit of effort, can be put on the website. And I believe the taxpayers of Brigantine deserve the right to know how their money is being spent.
Thank you, Mr. Dragon. Okay, any other public comment?